Hello, Twin Cities business community. My name is James Powell, and I'm delighted to welcome you to a discussion on the value of generative AI. As the Office Managing Partner of KPMG in Minneapolis, I often have discussions with clients about how AI is the most disruptive technology we've seen in decades. And leaders across industries have shared that they are making substantial investments in Gen AI technology, talent, and training. I'm excited to introduce this video that I believe will be incredibly valuable for all of us. In this discussion, we'll be exploring the transformative power of Gen AI and its potential to bring value to the way we work, innovate, and grow as organizations. For example, has your organization considered establishing programs that track the value and impact of your AI initiatives, allowing you to make data-driven decisions and adjustments as needed? My colleague, Danielle Beringer, will be sharing insights on how Gen AI can be integrated into workflows, the benefits it can bring, and the steps organizations can take to ensure we're all leveraging this technology effectively and responsibly. I encourage you to watch this video with an open mind and a sense of curiosity. This is not just about staying ahead of the curve, it's about positioning ourselves as leaders in our field and ensuring that we can continue to deliver exceptional value to our clients and stakeholders. I'm confident the discussion you're about to see will inspire us all to think differently about the future of our organizations and the value that Gen AI can bring. Enjoy the video.
Hi, I'm Pete Casillas, publisher of the San Francisco Business Times, and today we are joined by Danielle Beringer, Principal in Data Modernization and AI at KPMG. Welcome to our exclusive discussion, AI-Powered Business, Unlocking the Value of AI, a conversation presented by KPMG. Hi, Danielle. We're glad you could join us today.
Thank you so much for having me.
When you think about the evolution of technology, what makes Gen AI so transformational?
This is a fundamental shift in how businesses operate. They're focused on integrating the new technology, developing their talent, and determining how they can implement responsible frameworks to support AI, ML, and Gen AI. It's a time like no other, but the time is now to make that investment and begin to look at opportunities. One of the most important things is a focus on value delivery. Is the pursuit for competitive advantage? Is it to support operational excellence? Meanwhile, organizations are spending a lot of time and energy on core transformation, like ERP projects, advancing technology for business value in specific business divisions. So I think one of the key things to think about is what is the cost of not taking action to move towards the implementation of AI as part of their cornerstone of how they run their business.
And in your practice, how are you observing organizations actually unlock value with AI in these early stages?
Sure. I think there are three primary patterns. The first is where there's an interest in using AI for very specific use cases. That's really important that upfront there be engagement from the business and IT, centered on data strategy, AI strategy, and their business strategy. So what is the value that can be done through specific use cases, and how can AI augment that? The second would be if they are in the middle of an existing transformation of any kind, how does the availability of generative AI support and advance better efficiency, insights, et cetera, within that transformation? And then lastly, metering and measuring the value that is delivered, right? In the past, it's been very qualitative, but now it needs to be quantitative because there is significant expense and investment in actually bringing those Gen AI solutions to life and sustaining them.
In your conversations with business leaders, what challenges do organizations typically have as they contemplate incorporating an AI strategy?
These are universal, the two that I'll mention. The first is adoption, right? Generally speaking, people are needing to be upskilled. There's a refactoring. There is an education that's required to make people comfortable with the tooling. So I like to say that the presence of technology does not equal success, but adoption does. So having digitally fluent, empowered knowledge workers across the enterprise requires an investment in, digital upskilling, data literacy for deep context for data, and ensuring that there's a community and a mindset that becomes part of the DNA of the organization. As part of our survey, we identified that 71% of CIOs are now leading generative AI initiatives, whereas not just 6 months ago, it was a far lower number. Now, that tells us we really have to focus on that engagement between the CIO and the business stakeholders, whether it's the chief financial officer or others who are bringing business cases to bear that need Gen AI. So I think not only the alignment of executives, but also the adoption across the organization. Are people having the correct pathway to digital skills that they'll need to support those technologies? So adoption is one. The second is the fuel for AI, which is data, is really around people, process, and technology transformation, all unified around high quality certified data. So we see things like data products and data marketplaces, and emphasis on data quality. That is absolutely the heart of success. I would even go so far to say that data modernization pointed on data quality is a prerequisite for successful AI/ML and Gen AI.
Danielle, from the perspective of C-suite executives, what does generative AI mean in terms of the evolution of business intelligence and analytics?
So the evolution for traditional operational reporting, business intelligence, and advanced analytics really comes down to how people are interacting with data on a daily basis. An example would be if you have an analyst in a line of business who's spending 20 hours a week doing data wrangling, downloading data and sifting through large volumes to look for small insights. Now, with the advent of generative AI and a really significantly improved user experience, they can get to those insights in a fraction of the time. So that's freeing up their time. I call it the data time machine. That's giving them time back that they can spend on innovation and insights that they may not have gotten to for a very long time.
Danielle, I want to ask you a big picture question. Where do you see the future of the workforce going as generative AI becomes more mainstream and adopted over an ever increasing number and variety of applications? What happens to the workers?
I love this question. How do we look at what the future of work is for individuals, for executives, and for the enterprise? This is an unprecedented time. For us as a firm, when we look at how we implemented AIQ, artificial intelligence and Gen AI across our organization, we knew it was a fundamental shift. And we had this baseline layer that I would encourage every organization to consider. How are we going to bake AI into everything we do? But how do we change our target operating model? That target operating model is really that future state. How will our processes change? How will the integrations to technology change? But most fundamentally, how will our people change? How do we enable them with appropriate education and training and certification? How do we align what they're doing today with the new way of working? And how will we sunset legacy practices and things that no longer serve us for business value? Business strategy aligned to data strategy, aligned to AI strategy. There needs to be a people strategy, right? That's part of that whole thing. We generally observe that when people have the opportunity to advance in their technical skill and make their job function more automated, more efficient, and more insights-driven, they're happier. We see higher retention rates. People have career advancement and pathways that they didn't have before. So the future of work not only applies to the individual job function, but the overall operational efficiency of the entire enterprise. There is more metrics and KPIs that are critical to success. I think we see data and AI outcomes being part of regular reporting, and how people are performing, not just in the traditional way where they're looking at ROI or NPV, but they're actually looking at individual efficiency. Interestingly, from our recent AI Pulse survey, is adoption. 81% of leaders are now planning on placing generative AI usage into the performance appraisals of their workforce. So ensuring that the workforce has the digital skills and the data understanding to fully use and maximize generative AI will be extremely important now and in the future. So future of work is bright. We see organizations that are advancing with Gen AI quickly and really broadening the adoption as having significant competitive advantage.
That's great. Perhaps a broad question around how do you see the future of AI playing out here?
Yeah, the future of AI has several dimensions. I think there is the foundational technology part, right? Infrastructure, AI ops, extending beyond, if you look at like cloud technology and the adoption of cloud modernization, I think that everything ops and observability of all of those operational things in that operational plane are extremely important. It does require scaffolding of humans and processes in order to support that. We have countless examples from clients when they did their cloud modernization of maybe not having their FinOps in order and long-running jobs, storage and compute being out of control and out of budget because they didn't have necessarily the organizational construct for watching, what those cloud properties were doing. And, touching on the operational part, touching on the human part, I do think this creative space that we now have as people become more efficient, the data time machine, as I call it, we're creating space for people to do completely new things that could not physically be done before with the existing technology. So I also see this trajectory for, as Gen AI continues to evolve, what are ways that instrumentation and digital teammates come into play, right? Yeah. Agentic AI. I wanted to save that for last because I think that's really the most excited one. I'm excited about it. Our firm is excited about it. And we've done it very early because we see the opportunity for agentic AI and having a digital teammate to be this culmination of Gen AI really delivering value.
When I speak with a lot of business leaders in our community in San Francisco, I think it's fair to say that some of them still feel that AI is a little bit scary. And what I mean by that is they're trying to contemplate what is the downside of creating a less humanistic way of doing business. How do you position AI through an ethical lens when you're confronted with those concerns or questions from your clients?
Yes, the ethics and responsibility that comes with AI is very prominent in our mind. KPMG established our responsible AI framework years ago when we knew that this was essential for us to not only create a cornerstone or a foundation for AI, but be able to bring that to our clients. When we approach AI ML and Gen AI, there are things that are top of mind: privacy, security, ethics, data quality, and the way in which AI is provided to users. Having that framework, encouraging our clients to have a framework of their own or to adopt ours, gives them the assurance to be involving the right people in their organization to start to do exploration.
That makes a lot of sense, and that's encouraging. Thank you. Danielle, this has been a fascinating conversation, your insights, your experience. Thank you for sharing them today, and I appreciate your time.
Thank you, Pete, for the opportunity to talk with you about AI.
And for more on this topic, please visit www.kpmg.us/AI. I'm Pete Casillas, publisher of the San Francisco Business Times. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for taking the time to watch this video. Your engagement and interest in the value of Gen AI are crucial as we navigate the future of our industries. I encourage you to reach out if KPMG can help you explore how Gen AI can add value to your organization. Let's continue to innovate and lead together.